Hello. Give me a moment until I have everything set up. I have no idea what happened here. Um, why? Where? What? Uh-huh. Okay. Cool. That's interesting. Suddenly there is no camera for reasons that nobody understands or like. Yeah, that's cool. Also, there's no music in the background. Let's change that. Uh, what do we want to? Yeah, that's a fun track. It's not like the album isn't very long or the playlist, but at least for now, it's summer. So why don't we all listen to the classic video game soundtrack for like Epic's The Games Summer Edition for the Commodore Amiga from like I don't know when, way back in the ancient times, definitely. So there's stuff I have to figure out. I'm so sorry for that. Why aren't you like things will look weird for a second? Yeah, cool. Okay, this like has my camera. Oh, I know why. I know why. I know why. Okay, there's my face. That's important. You have to have a face on your thing because, yeah, sure. Let me see. Don't want to have this automatic. Definitely don't want to have autofocus on because that's fucking annoying if the camera keeps shifting around. Same with basically anything. I'm a bit desaturated, I think. Usually I'm a bit more colorful, but it'll be fine. It'll be fine, probably. I mean, I do wear like a lot of black today for reasons. So, and now I completely messed up the intro, like not very good marketing shit. So let's do that while I'll keep being bothered by my camera because that's a fun thing to have. So let's no, oh god, that's too bright. So hi everyone, my name is Eric. I make a video game called GB Rover, which is an action platforming game about shooting your bosses and fighting for a better world. You can wishlist it on Steam if you want. I would very much appreciate it. If you're wondering, yeah, well, but what exactly is it? I mean, there's a Steam page that tells you what the game is. I already also told you what the game is. It's a game about shooting your bosses and all that. But why don't we just like demonstrate a tiny bit? This isn't like this is also like me serving as a way of like just showing what I've been fiddling around with the last few days. So you're a round robot who is fighting against all manners of evil. And you run around, you shoot, and things explode. That's like the basic gist of it. So I did a bunch of stuff that I just want to show, like want to show off before I go and okay, why? What's this now? Oh, I'm pretty sure it's because the game was basically minimized, or like not the active window. So I did a few things yesterday. Did one of those things again where like, let's roll it back and explain everything. I was watching a bunch of old talks from the Game Devs of Color Expo yesterday on their YouTube channel, and there was one about advanced game feel. And since I'm a big fan of making things feel nice in video games and like being like very much into like doing action game stuff and all that, I figured why not watch it? Maybe there's like some ideas I can lift off of. Despite the fact that the like person who did the talk and the examples they were using were kind of like based on very high budget, high polished games and not this what you're seeing here. But there was like a bunch of like just like interesting high concept stuff, like in terms of like how to think about like game feel in general, and also like something that did give me an idea. So they were talking about Destiny 2 and like going through like specific instances and things that like they were doing in that game to make it like feel more interesting and good. And one thing they were showing up was like throwing grenades and like talking about like different instances and different like options that players have when they are throwing a grenade. And it gave me some ideas on how to improve this specific extra weapon that is in GB Rover. This is the Pom Grenade, which shoots an exploding apple. And before yesterday, it was kind of underwhelming to use. It was basically, well, you shoot an exploding projectile that flies in a fairly like steep arc, which exploded immediately on contact with the surface, and where the explosion itself didn't do any damage, something I wanted to change at some point but never did. Like the weapon wasn't very useful in like very useful within the game itself. Like unlike most of the other weapons, I don't have them unlocked on this save right now, but most of the other weapons have use cases in the normal levels aside from boss weaknesses. The Pom Grenades never really had those, and even for the boss that was weak to it, it was kind of tricky to pull off, and it was more useful to just use your normal gun. There were a bunch of fights where like this weapon was incredibly powerful for, but it was like kind of like still like you don't build a whole weapon and then have it only be useful in 3 very specific cases, right? And it's not very interesting to use. So I took some ideas from that talk and tried to like change the way the Pom Grenade behaves. So the first thing you notice is it now bounces like when it touches the ground. It doesn't explode immediately when it touches the ground. That's the first thing. The second thing that like is a bit hard to see, but that you might see, is that it carries a tiny bit of your velocity with it. So there's a difference between you shooting it when you're standing still and you shooting it while you're moving. Like the projectile behaves slightly differently. There's also a difference between like when you shoot it, because it also carries some of the vertical velocity with it. So if you're shooting it when you're like just about to jump, like the arc is much higher, so you can, for example, shoot it over barriers that way. I mean, you could also shoot it through walls, but anyway, kind of as like that. You can also shoot it when you're like falling down. And another thing you might see here is how the projectile also has different bouncing behaviors depending on like its like vertical trajectory. If it has like a steep trajectory, it bounces very high and doesn't really get any faster. If you shoot it like when like basically falling down, the projectile kind of skids along the floor and also gets faster with each bounce. So they're like, now there's like the projector itself is kind of still the same and still kind of serves the same purpose as like an arcing shot, but you now have much more control over how to use that arcing shot. And also the explosions now do damage, which makes it again more useful. Also, like now the explosion does damage and getting hit by the projectile, which means when you're like, you can kind of be like a bit more messy with it and still do damage to enemies, but if you're precise and like basically aim your shots well, you can do more damage because the enemies get damaged both by the explosion and the projectile that hits them. So there are now more layers to this that give you more control over how the projectile behaves and give you more ways to express yourself. You can now use it in more different ways, and you also kind of have to figure out how to use it. So there's like a bit of a I think overall, like at the beginning, it's probably more like to some extent less useful because it behaves like differently depending on where you're using it, and most of the other weapons don't behave that way. But if you figure out how to use it, it becomes much more useful. That's at least my hope. I haven't really tested it out throughout the game, but considering that the default shot is much more lower to the ground, it's probably much more likely that people are hitting things with it that are right in front of them instead of shooting over them. Because before this, before I reworked that this projectile, you basically had no control whatsoever over the distance and the height of the arc of your shot. It was completely set, and because it immediately exploded upon hitting a wall, being just slightly off in your positioning meant that all of your shots whiffed, and now you have some control over how to aim this projectile. And again, it's more interesting, and again, more adding more layers of expression and control for the player that people can then use, and it's all basically depending on when you press your button. So that's I think it's kind of neat to have it that way. Anyway, that's one thing. Another thing I did just now is I added a very short flash that you can see when you start dashing, which is basically your character sprite with a specific blend mode and a slight stretch imposed over your normal sprite, for 5 frames. But again, it's adding another layer of stuff to a movement option, which gives more feedback. Again, more feedback to the power that is behind that move. And I don't know how much more I will add to this, considering that I was already kind of happy with it, how it looked a few weeks ago when it just had this big particle effect, and now there's so much more stuff that I added to it. And again, it's interesting just to see how much you can still find and improve, and that's also the bonus, I think, of not being in any rush to release the game, because I basically have at least about 2 months of time, definitely, just to add small bullshit, and it's really great. So another what you can see here, and I said it on Twitter already, that's I reworked the main menu. Also sorry for the clashing music here. I reworked the main menu recently, and let me just quickly mute this music. And what you can see here is I think this is and I said it on Twitter already, I think this is the first menu I made for a game that I don't secretly hate, because it looks nice and polished. There's still some small stuff I'm thinking about adding. Apologies, I have to always have to click out and do order my windows again. So what I would like to add is tiny sparkles that appear on the GB Rover logo randomly somewhere on the lettering, because I think that would look nice, but that's kind of it. So yeah, I reworked the main menu. Before that, it was kind of a screen I threw together within I don't know, maybe an hour in total, and just because I needed something back then to put in the trailer, and thought, oh yeah, I could probably use it as a title screen. Also because it was kind of based on an idea for an intro that I decided to scrap, and the problem with that title screen though was that it was very hard to display text on it because there was a lot of color going on and movement in the background, and I only have 4 colors, so it's very quickly and run into a situation where things get hard to differentiate. And so the main menu then was basically you press the button and then a big text box appeared where the menu was like kind of like to the side, which it was functional but didn't look very nice. And it was kind of bothering me because it was kind of the same with Splinter Zone, where I had kind of the same problem, where I had a functioning menu, but where I felt like the background and the title screen was nice, but what came after the title screen wasn't so nice anymore. And I kind of felt, okay, I have this rough idea of how I could display the menu text in a way that's a bit more efficient in terms of like room usage or space usage, and just like at least put the main menu there. I still need basically the whole screen to display stuff in the options menu, but I could use the giant ugly text box for that then, because it's much more efficient that way. Because like you're not going to go into the options menu with every like time you start up the game, but you go into the options menu when you like want to change options, and then it's not that big of a deal if it looks a bit weird. And you can see here, especially with the keyboard controls, I do need the whole space, because otherwise I can't display everything. I could do like a scrolling thing here as well, but it's this is like I think for that it's also like kind of better German word again, better to have like everything on one screen instead of having it scrolling, but it's nicer here. I also did, and I did it the wrong way, also did the same for the crack throw, which was also very cramped and had a bit of the problem that there were options that I wanted to add where I didn't have enough space in here. So again, I used this setup again with like this, like only displaying 3 options and you scrolling through them. And then giving yourself, like, if you click into one, you get, like, you see this stuff. I also wanted to do, like, this kind of, like, scrolling for every options, but I ran out of space again. For example, here, like, these options just don't fit. Like, not at all. Like, it's a bit unfortunate, but I think this still works. And it's, again, having sometimes to make compromises and whatever. With that space, I managed to add a life system to GB Robo, which is completely optional and disabled by default because I personally don't like it. But for people who do want to suffer and who do want to like experience the game like it may have existed back in 1992, you can adjust, like you can give yourself lives. Initially, I wanted to build it in such a way that the game deletes your save file if you like lose all of your lives, but it was so fiddly to have the game save your lives while also like basically disabling the options of you adjusting your life count between restarts of the game, and this would have been the only options where I would have to put a disclaimer into saying this only changes if you restart your game completely, and that was kind of ugh. So I made it in such a way that you can adjust them like any time, and if you go game over, you just get kicked out of a stage and nothing more. Because again, it's more like there for people who, I don't know, want to challenge themselves a bit more. Like, for example, you could set it to 0 and just like say, okay, I'm going to play it in such a way that every time I die, I have to replay the whole stage. And then I can maybe like put the enemy damage up to 3 times as much and have a really fun time with it. So that's kind of the idea behind that. Anyway, that's the stuff that I did. And that's, again, like something where I really have to say, this is only stuff you can do if you have the time towards the end of a project. This isn't something that is, I think, at least if you're one person, wise to do like for a lot of things when you like are under time pressure. And I don't know, when like, again, I've been talking about in my previous devlog video about like how I was like earlier this week considering like pushing the release date for GB Robo like much like forward much earlier than I put it last week. Because I was kind of I don't know. I was in a weird space mentally Monday and Tuesday, and I'm glad that I didn't do that, because now I know I have a few months still left, and I have so much space to both improve parts of the game that I still think are maybe a bit off, and also just make the things that are already there more interesting. And yeah, so that's kind of cool. I'm even thinking about maybe making the stages larger and putting like mid-boss fights in them, because I would have the time to do that. I don't know if I'll do it, because I don't want to overbloat the game for no good reason. So and also like redoing stages is like, ugh. I might redo the water stage once more, because I'm like, the more I think about it, the less happy I am with it. But yeah, we don't have to talk or do this right now. So let's talk about the things I was meant to do now. Wow, streaming for 20 minutes, and now I'm doing the thing that I wanted to do. Okay, these are the templates that are still left. I think, yeah, so we did these 3 last week. So let's start with this one and hope that I don't get into the weeds with backgrounds all that much. So maybe that I can do 2 levels today. That would be great. By the way, this soundtrack has no right to be this good. Like, really, it's cool. Anyway. So we do need a template, I think. Yeah, that's the last one. I like just looking at this. This was the stage that I did last Sunday. I really like how this looks. Honestly, like it fits so well together. But boy, was it a pain to build. Again, like mostly for my own fault. Like this wasn't so hard in the end, but it was just like a pain because I was very unorganized. So let's build some stuff. Room manager. Put this down. I don't know, somewhere here. Oh yeah, like some other fun thing happened this week. And this is something that I found like that was like kind of like, let's just say interesting overall, like but mostly positive. So that's the wrong level. This week I occasionally search for GB Robo on Twitter just to see if someone else besides me is talking about it, or if there's something I have to be aware of in terms of like, oh god, there might be trouble coming my way or whatever. Yeah, that's the one. And I found out that a French indie game website had written an article about GB Robo, like a very short like announcement post. What I find really interesting here is that this must have been the first instance of a game of mine being written about without me having done anything to like reach out to press. Like this site just decided to cover the game like out of their own volition without me saying anything to them. Which was kind of cool, actually, because again, like this never happened with Splinter Zone or any of my like freeware titles at all, and especially not for like with a like larger site. Like I don't know, like Twitter followers are always, but like this account had like 12,000 followers, and if you consider that it's only in French, I think that's a fairly large amount to some degree. Anyway, I mean, it could also be just a content farm or whatever, but still, like someone decided, yeah, I'm going to write about that game. What I did find funny, and maybe it's like, maybe it's because I had to use Google Translate, and Google Translate wasn't all that great with like translating French into German. but like it very much read like the person who wrote that article either didn't fully understand GB Rober's store description, because like the article itself is mostly a summary of like GB Rober's store description, and I need to place a pause object. Where am I? So it's mostly a summary of the store description, but some details are slightly wrong, and there's like a bunch of stuff that they just added that I never mentioned anywhere, and that is like if we assume that there's a canon GB Rober background lore, which is definitely not canon, so to speak. So that like they kind of did like slightly fan fiction, I guess. Again, no hard feelings on my end or like whatever. I'm not angry at this person who did that. I just found it incredibly funny. So what like some things so and also I'm not sure, like maybe they didn't like misrepresent some stuff that was in there, but more like maybe they misunderstood some of the English store description themselves, and again like translations and all that, and speaking different languages and having to understand different languages is sometimes not that easy. So I can definitely like understand why people might end up with that. I'm so unorganized while I'm talking about this stuff. It's very, very funny. Hopefully I hope I don't make any mistakes. So we need a camera. We need this. Okay. Do we need something else? No. Okay. Then we'll need these. Oh yeah, I can probably also put I'll talk about the other stuff later. I'll like in a minute. Where's the beeper? There's the beeper. Okay. So one thing they wrote down was that the short summary on GB Rover store page, like the thing that like pops up in like other places on Steam, is it's the year 2020X. Bosses and landlords rule over a dying world. Something has to be done. Someone has to fight for the people. I also realize I'm like reading the wrong thing. I actually mean the first paragraph, like the basically, or the second part of the introductionary paragraph, where it says, fight for a world where bosses, landlords, and the concept of private property are only a distant memory. Fight for the people. So it's meant that, okay, now you live in a world where there is private property and where there are bosses and landlords, and you're fighting to create a world where these things don't exist anymore. The way this article wrote it down was that you're like the game takes place in a world where private property and all that other stuff is only a distant memory, and I guess you're kind of fighting to like get that back. I don't know. They also like wrote down that GB Rover was created by someone to fight a dictatorship or whatever, which also isn't true. This is the part where I said this is kind of fan fiction-y. Again, I'm not angry at that. I just find it very funny. Because, yeah, I'm not used to people writing any, like, more, like, it's not that, like, people haven't written about Splinter Zone or whatever. Like, people have written about it. But I'm not used to it because it's been 4 years since that game came out. And frankly, a lot of people who were and are talking about Splinter Zone, haven't really caught on to what it was actually about, which again I'm making like to no fault of their own, because frankly I wasn't very upfront about the game's subject matter, or I could have been a bit more upfront. So again, and like it's also like people are very like attracted to like just the things that they know. So they see something that looks like Mega Man and they think, oh yeah, Mega Man, I know that. here's already something that's probably not working. But anyway, so let's see. This thing moves here. This thing moves here. Okay, this thing moves here. This thing moves here. This thing moves here. Yeah, okay, that should maybe could, who knows, work. Good. So that's like kind of a thing, and that's like I just find it again. I mostly found it interesting. That again, it's not that oh god, I'm pissed at people like misrepresenting my game, because and I guess like the other like just interesting part here is that you can do as much as you want, like in terms of like trying to show what your work is about. People will like find their own readings of it, and there isn't much you can control. Like, so people might just have like a not really like intended reading of like what GB Robo is about. I'm trying to be like again as clear as possible about what I say it's about, but if people think that like GB Robo fights for the landlords, I'm very sorry, but that's not true. And yeah, like the one character in this game who does fight for the land, shit. Ooh, maybe. So, fuck. I was just saying, the only character that is fighting for the landlords is PD Robo, which is GB Robo's brother. And there's a fight against PD Robo. And now it mimics your own stage intro. And now I'm thinking about like maybe before PD Robo drops into the stage, there's a text box flashing that says "Fight for the Landlords." Just again to like mirror this, because PD Robo fought for the landlords. PD Robo is a class traitor and all that. So it's I don't know. I was always thinking, about like, can I do like a text box for PD Robo or like a text scroll? And I never could think about like a good phrase. And now just while I was like rambling here, I got one. Cool. I might do that later today or tomorrow. I'll have to see. This is awesome. Okay, where was I? Did I? No, I didn't. Good. A thing I have to check here is to make sure that because these platforms have a travel time, is that the platforms end up being at the spots where they need to be when you are also there, so that you're not like jumping and you fall into the pit while the platform is still on its way to you, like to basically save you. It's like always a bit of a tricky thing with these, like with this like idea for these switch blocks. It's always much easier to have them it's much easier to have them instantaneously. But again, like I felt it was a bit more like just visually more interesting to have it like have them move like while you are while you are moving as well. I love the drums in this in this soundtrack so much. Okay. Also, like, there's like something I need to place here, which I completely forgot because, again, I've been talking about randomly things. These things. Okay, but this time, before I like place down the backgrounds and whatever, I'm taking a break, so not that I like, so that I don't run into the same problem as previously, where I was just like getting into the weeds about stuff, and then it was like very weird to take a break in the middle of it. So yeah, I need to place a kill plane. Okay. Then, oh yeah. No, it's instances, right? Play star, play handler. Yep. Okay. Mm-hmm. Okay, let's see. Mm-hmm. Yep. Oh, I think I need to like. I think what? Didn't I? Oh, I think I did a mistake here, right? Yep. The pause object needs to be in this layer. Otherwise, you pause the game and the pause object gets deactivated. Makes like meaning that you lock up the game and can't escape anymore. I also made platforms invisible again, but that's also because otherwise, you like. I had a thing with an update. Okay. Okay, I know that this isn't working. I need to put this up here. Like this platform. Yeah. This is a mistake. Good to know. This, okay. Yeah, this needs to be here and then move to here. No. This is blue. This is red. Yeah. Yeah, okay. So anyway, that like this was kind of a nice week after I took a bit of a longer break. Actually made me realize that maybe I should just like take every like Monday, Tuesday off. Because taking weekends off is a bit rough for me because like there's a bunch of like stuff that's generally happening. But since I don't have to like work, I can just like take my days off during the week, I guess. Might be an idea, might be something worth trying out. Okay, now let's try something a bit faster. Okay, this was kind of terrible. I mean, that's the like trick, right? Like to find. Anyway, I think that like, but the jumping and stuff works good enough. So spawners. Okay. I also now I'm like got a good idea about like how to mark the end of these stages. So in the endless attack modes and also in Splinter Zone, there were like in the endless attack modes of the Mega Man 9 and 10, and also in Splinter Zone, there are like teleport pads where you step on them and then you teleport to the next stage. And I think like because GB Rover always slams into like a stage in orb form and then transforms into the shape we all know and love. I'm going to like make it so that GB Rover shoots themselves out of a cannon when they finish a stage. Like there's going to be like a small like thing down here, and like I'm probably going to do like a, you know, Kirby, when Kirby gets into a cannon, like in Kirby's Adventure, and like they like kind of like peek out of it. I think I'm going to do something like that, and then like get shot out of the cannon, and this is how you transfer between stages, because I find this like incredibly funny. Anyway, next up are tile sets, but again, because that might take a bit, I'm going to take like a 5 to 10 minute break now, and then we'll do backgrounds and all that fun stuff. So yeah, wishlist GB Rover please in the meantime if you haven't already. Now that the call of action is out of the way, I see you in just a moment, I guess. Give me a second, maybe I can just do that. Yeah, cool, I don't have to deactivate my webcam. Anyway, see you soon. Hello. Okay. I took a break. Um, and yeah, that's. I took a break. Cool. Anyway, I thought I had something else to say, but nope. Yeah, it just wasn't anything. Good. So now we need to do all the layer fun that we need to do when we are building these things. So I need like Zult 1 and Zult 2. Now I need to check. Oh yeah, I can. I think I can just put these wherever, but the rest is kind of important where to put. Oh yeah, this is wrong. I switched positions here. Okay. Now we place these. This is kind of the same jump. I'm just realizing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, like 6 and up. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, 6 and 1 up. I don't like this. This is basically the same thing. This is all the same thing. This jump is also like 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, okay, this is like one tile further, but this is still the same jump. Not a fan. Really not a fan. Oh well, I'm not changing it. It's again, it's for an endless attack level. Just realizing it's like, ah well, so okay, that goes there. Just wanted to make sure. Oh, yeah, cool. I can't. Yeah, okay. I did an oopsie here. Let's delete all of these because I can't use them in the same tile layer, but it's not a big deal. Like, there's more space for tiles and more layers for tiles than like anyone really needs. So, it's not a big problem. Just need to place these for now. And then switch to this layer. Maybe also pick tiles, that would be cool. So okay. Now let's maybe just add like this. Add a sub layer already because I need this. Just to finish this. Okay. This is done for now. Let's start with the background. It's not going to be that like difficult this time around because it's purely like horizontal. Kind of want to use this one though, which I can. It's not a big problem. Also, I need to do a slight offset to the left just so that there isn't anything dark behind where the player is. think I can. Hmm. That was wrong. Okay. I think I need to move these a bit down because otherwise there's like a red bar, which doesn't look too good. But this, like, yeah, I need to make some adjustments to these tile layers, which is fine. Can I do this? Would this be enough? Let's see. What? I might not use the foreground here. Oh yeah, maybe I need to make platforms visible right now, otherwise this might be a bit rough to play. Just have to keep in mind to make them invisible again, because otherwise some levels will look weird. It like was a very great thing where I was like I think it was Tuesday evening. I was sending having a short email conversation with one of the representatives of one of the publishers I contacted, who were like sort of interested in maybe like signing GB Robo, and they like were asking like for the full game. I sent it to them. Then I realized, yeah, this doesn't work and it looks weird. But we can fix this probably. And so first of all, I sent them Steam key, and turns out the Steam keys that I requested were would only activate when you have the game, like when the game's released, so they were completely useless to them. So instead I sent them a this needs to be lower, otherwise this just looks weird. Can I put it a bit further down? This might be fine though, because this is where the border is, so this might look okay. So then I send them instead an itch.io code, which is good because I have that. I already also requested Steam keys that activate the game now, just to be sure, for the future. But it's oh yeah, cool. This is a good way of doing things. There's still a hole down there. This is a hole in the graphic though, isn't it? No, okay. This is just the background's being weird. Okay, let's fix this with a very, 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 very... This is what you get, still weird, but it's okay. We only do it for this one. Only need to do this. Push it up a tiny bit, offset by -12. So that the gaps are filled here. So yeah, that was kind of me being not very professional. My god, my face is really, really dark. This is what I get from now I want to do manual adjustments. Meaning I always have to do adjustments all the fucking time. Yeah, that's okay, I guess. Let's do this. And this. This also. Okay. Yeah, now there's my big ball. Anyway, okay, how does this look? I'm mostly concerned about the holes. Obviously also like platform readability, but I think that's okay. You see where they are. Yeah, I think that works. So let's just do that. And it's all good. Let's make it like invisible for a second though. So that was like one thing, and then I had like there were like a few very fun things in that process. So I send out the keys, then I'll like play the game just for fun like 20 minutes later, and realize that in one of the stages I forgot to set a flag for like a background to appear. Like in this stage, this is what I was like. I was looking at the stage during the last stream to figure out, okay, how did I do the backgrounds here that they don't look terrible? And I forgot, like I think it was like with this layer, I don't know, like with one layer where like yeah, here I accidentally deactivated this, like made this layer invisible, or like one of these layers invisible, this layer. And I realized it while test playing the game. And I'm like, oh god, when a publisher plays this and sees this, like, this looks terrible. I can't have that. So I fixed it. Made an update again. Uploaded it both to itch.io and to Steam. This is when I like hadn't realized yet that the Steam keys that I sent out were kind of useless. During me then figuring out, oh, the Steam keys are useless, I then also figured out, after sending out the itch.io code, I played through the game a bit more, and then I came to this screen. Let's open it up. Where? Like final overworld. Where's the final overworld? Final overworld, needle, correct throw. There. So I came to this screen, and you can see how there are like walls placed here so that you can basically only follow this this path. Well, I forgot to like check the box that makes like this object makes these floor objects invisible, which means I came to this map and had these ugly like black things, like squares on the screen. Again, this was a build that maybe a publisher would play. So I again went and updated the game, but because I knew, okay, right now no one on Steam, like no one who has a Steam key of the game, which isn't a lot of people, can play it right now because I forgot to like send out the keys that make the game playable like before release. I don't have to update the Steam version now, so I only updated the itch.io version. Fast forward to yesterday, I was looking through my Steam backend and there was like a thing popping up. Yeah, like your build needed like exe file to run. I was thinking like, what? Didn't I update the game? What's the problem here? Like I went to upload like a new build, and then I realized that in my fervor to update the Steam version of the game, because like at that point I was very concerned that a publisher might see like my mistakes, I uploaded a completely empty file to Steam and overwrote like the build of GB Robot that was on there. Again, it's good that like this happened like weeks before, months before the game's out, or like more people are playing it, but like don't let me do things, really. It's a bad idea. I really like the, okay, oopsie, I uploaded an empty file to this thing. And Steam just lets you do that. It's really funny. They tell you afterwards, but like they still let you just upload an empty folder. It's great. And yeah, like now everything's good. Like, and like 2 people I think have a basically pre-release version of GB Roba right now, mostly because they're nice people, and it's like me trying to be nice to them. Like I'll try and send it out to more people who I think might like should have it. This is like I think I've already talked about it, but I'm not so sure. Like what I really like about having a game out is like it kind of gives you an opportunity to be thankful towards people that like knowingly or not helped you with what you like with like making this thing. And the thing that I'm really trying to do is, and I did that with Splinter Zone back then, is like just reach out to these people and send them a copy of the game and saying, hey, you might not know me, but like for that and that reason, you kind of helped make this thing exist, and I think you should have it. Don't care if you play it, don't care if you even read that email. It's just like, here, have this game, and thanks for your work, basically. Because again, it's like, it's sometimes so hard to like know, like when you're making something, to know whether or not like something you made has any impact on anyone really, and just getting this kind of like feedback, even with larger game developers, like I think is a nice, like just a nice thing to have, and something I like with GB Roba. I'm kind of looking forward to, because it's been a few years since I was able to do that, so that's kind of nice. There's a big red, oh yeah, I know why there's a big red thing down there, because this was missing. Yeah, that's okay. Let's rename the room and go back and do other stuff, or like make another level. Or should I take it's been only 30 minutes. I think I can keep going for a little bit more. TR Tower. I don't know why there's an R. I have like no clue really why I picked an R there. Well, that's the naming convention, I guess. Is it 3 or 4? 4. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Cool. I should build a folder for those, I think. Now let's duplicate a template. Let's close some stuff as well. So yeah, no idea if like anything comes out of this publisher thing. But I'll do my best. And this is also like me like not having any idea how to deal with that. So it's okay. Yeah, I'm just like trying to be as much upfront about what the game is as I can. Personally, I think it would fit very well to like whatever else they're publishing, but that's not for me to decide. Like personally, I believe that I'll deserve any and all the money that there is, but really, who am I to make any decisions on money? Anyway, so this is going to be another weird one, but thankfully we now know how to build these weird ones. I think I could also just basically do all of this as an indoors place. I might do that because it's easier. I actually might be doing that again. Easier to deal with. Okay, let's place everything that we need. We don't need this. We need a pause object here. We need a player handler here. We need a camera here. Camera. Camera here. Cam start here. And okay. Now we need one of those here, one of those here, yep, here. By the way, if you played Splinter Zone, you might find this layout familiar, because this is probably the straightest copy I made of the stage. Then we need one of those. Till here. Well, we can make all of this invisible. Now we need to place barriers. Mm-hmm. I still need to place one down here. Was just like kind of like confused for a second. Then we need one here. And we need one here. This should be almost all of them. Almost. We also need one here. Yeah. Good. Cool. Yeah, this is like the best way to figure out if the game will crash or not is like to look at, okay, is every screen like enclosed by fear of these things? Fear, 4. German. Fear is German for 4. I could do a language course while I'm streaming, like for every time I like accidentally use the other language that I'm speaking. So yeah, we have that. Now we can place other things. Also, maybe. Oh no, that should be okay. This. So yeah, again, publishers weird. Like very weird, like experience in overall. Especially like there's like so like. I'm sometimes a very strange person in that I'll have these weird swings between complete and utter overconfidence in what I can do and what I'm making, and absolutely no confidence at all. like it really it's very very highly dependent on like what day it is and whatever else, like how I feel about my work and how much I feel like I might be deserving of whatever, and then also like me being incredibly scared of like something getting attention actually. Like just like this week, I found out that like Splinter Zone like had been covered in like a very small like on a very small YouTube channel, like these are like very cool video games for under $5 for people to play, and I really had to force myself to watch it because I get scared when I hear people's opinions about what I'm making, and that was no exception. I did watch it in the end. Like again, it was completely fine. Like I was kind of discouraged by like how hard the game still seems to be. But that's what I made. I'm pretty like I have no idea. Like that's also like a thing the publisher was asking me, like how long do I think the game like would take someone to play through? And that's so hard for me to gauge because I can finish GB Robo in like under 30 minutes. And I don't even have to like try really hard to be fast about it. But that's mostly because I made the game and I like know how everything works. I know every boss's weakness. I know how every boss behaves and all that. So the like step of learning all of this, which is part of playing these games, is completely like non-existent for me. Which means this is the wrong thing that I'm extending here, I think. Yeah. So that's kind of like a weird thing, right? Having to like having then to make an estimate about, okay, this is like how someone else will take it. Like my guess is like between 1 and 2 hours probably, because like the game isn't that long. I have no idea. I think I did it like for the testing folks, like for the people who signed up to test GB Robo earlier this year. I did a survey. Unfortunately, only one person took the time to like fill it out, but they said like I think something around 4 hours or whatever. So you can see that maybe it takes even longer because the game is hard. Who knows? Really, I have no clue how difficult this game is as well. It's so hard for me to so hard for me to gauge how difficult I made this game. I'm like, and like what doesn't help here really is that I'm actually constantly afraid that it's too easy, that people can just breeze through it and end up not having like a nice and fulfilling time. But I'm pretty sure that I'm wrong about that. Very sure that I'm wrong about that, but who knows really. That's also like the thing with like there's like several problems here. Not being able to like show this game on like during festivals or whatever is one problem, definitely one problem. Because like with Splinter Zone, I was able to show the game like a year before it came out, and it like gave me like a good estimation about like, okay, these are the problems that the game has. I mean, to be honest, like a lot of the things that like were like a huge, and Splinter Zone is still like probably too much on the hard side of things, but it was like even more so back then. And a lot of that stuff, like I never like did like these mistakes I never did with GB Robo because I already knew how to avoid them. But like again, like just watching someone play is so invaluable, like a lot of time, and just not being able to like do that because how like with COVID and all that, and also like me being completely disconnected from like video game festival news and stuff, and like I found a few but most of them have submission fees, and I'm not in a position financially to risk, like, to bet like 100 to 200 euros on a on GB Rover getting accepted into like a festival, like, or to be shown somewhere. So I can't really use those. I also like missed I was fairly close to like having GB Rover being eligible for the previous Steam Next festival, which was in June. But it like didn't pan out because the promo art wasn't done, and didn't want to launch the Steam page. Didn't want to launch the Steam page like without like being like prepared as much as I can, and like with like lesser like I forgot to place the like transitions. So I ended up not doing that, and like again the next like the like next Steam Next festival is in October, and I did like put GB Rover in there, which is like what I like talked about, which is why the game won't come out until after that festival, because I mean it's not going to be that long after the festival, but it will give me enough, like, first of all, like, obviously, more eyeballs and all that is a good thing, but also just being able to see and watch some people play it and get at least some feedback that I can put in place, or like then make adjustments for the like full release of the game. Obviously I can't rework whole stages probably for time reasons, or all stages if like everything's terrible, but like say for example like, okay, this one boss fight has these and these problems, or this one platform in this one stage is kind of not in a good place, I can make these adjustments at least, and have them like a bit more manageable. So that's like one of the reasons why I did that, because otherwise I'm still looking to submit GB Rover to like places where I could show it off, or where people could play it or whatever, as much as this is possible with COVID still going on and probably still being a thing for like the foreseeable future. Like personally, like I'm not even like, I'm getting my second vaccine shot next week, and even like with being vaccinated, with the way like what you hear about like the like Delta variant being like much more highly transmissible, and like not like vaccination not being as as effective against it, I'm not that much interested in like going to like attending events even next year, to be honest. Like completely disregarding the money question, which is always a question like with what I'm doing, but yeah, it's just not worth it, to be honest, like to do that. So I'll probably stay away from this. But anyway, that's like a whole other thing. But yeah, this was the one. So yeah, and that's really a problem. Like again, like especially for like if you're a smaller developer, like finding places where and opportunities where you can watch people play your game is very rough. And like this was like it was so important for Splinter Zone. And again, like the game is still too hard, but like I managed to like catch so much stuff this way. that I wouldn't have been able to catch if I had to, if I had like just released the game and like basically released the game and never looked at anything. This doesn't look very good, but like honestly, the problem here is that, I mean, I could probably still do it, but it would look very strange because the parallax scrolling is kind of set up for you to climb up, because like the layers move in a different rate, like the further back, like again to create the illusion that you're climbing up something. If I were to like do this, like do a parallax with the background, like basically have like an open space here and then you climb down, then there's an open space down here, the layers would be completely off. Like the layer that is the furthest back would be much further down than the other one, so it would look very bad. So I'm not doing that. But this is also, yeah, I can see it. Like this isn't good. I don't know, 28, that's too far. 96, almost 80. 80 looks good. That's almost in the middle of everything. Not in the first screen, but that'll be fine. Let's just do that and then see how the rest looks after I placed everything else down. So anyway, to like kind of wrap around, so I have no idea how like hard this game is. Maybe some of the folks I've sent like the game to will tell me something, like if it's way too hard. No clue, really. Again, I'm fairly certain that it's more on the harder side, but also I think it's a bit more playable than Splinter Zone. Like one thing that was like especially later, like when I had a bit more distance to it, what was kind of bothering me with Splinter Zone is that the character moves too fast. And, like it was too twitchy for like the game it was supposed to be. Like one thing I like saw like fairly often when I was watching like people play the game, especially like recordings of the game or whatever, is how often they were like kind of like fiddling around trying to find the correct position because the character was like accelerating or like was generally too fast. So I think this isn't as much a problem with GB Rover because it's much slower in general. Just like maybe I'll do that because the other thing looks a bit strange. Ugh. release. Mm. So at least in that regard, GB Robo will probably a bit better, and this is also like what I mean when I say GB Robo is a bit more playable, because you won't have like this weird like twitchy like control thing going on, which I think is a good thing. Again, I personally like. It's also like I was kind of used to it with like Splinter Zone, but yeah, still not a big fan. Like just watching and seeing, okay, this might be a reason why people are struggling with this game so much. Sure, it's difficult, but if like the controls are like a bit too off for folks, it like exasperates the difficulty, because it's difficulty in places where yourself as a developer, you haven't intended it to be difficult. So it's like, and with things like, okay, this is how the character moves. This is very, very difficult to fix, like, in like at all, because especially like post-release, because that's how you build your game. That's how you build all the levels and all that other stuff. You can't just go and like change the speed in which the character moves, because then all the distances would be off, right? Like it's basically impossible to make adjustments at that point, which is a bit of a shame. But like, again, what can you do? Like, you build the game in such a way, and then you have to live with like how it plays. And again, I think GB Robo does a better job. I hope at least that it does a better job and is a bit less frustrating in that regard. But at the same time, I never heard that kind of feedback. Like, never. So who knows? Maybe I'm just like imagining stuff, but it's just like from like watching people play, where I think, okay, this might actually be the problem. Why it's difficult for people? Not because like it's like relentless in other parts or whatever, but because like the controls are too fiddly in some parts. And this also like it's not also like to blame like people for not telling me or whatever. Like figuring this stuff out, like why a game is difficult to someone, like, or to yourself, is not like easy by any means, because like you have to be very perceptive about your own, like what you like about a game, and like what like a game's possible problem areas could be, and that's tricky to figure out on your own. So again, no blame to like anyone who like played GB Robo and has no idea what I'm talking about. GB Robo Splinter Zone, because who knows if I'm correct? Like really, like this might also just be me being like overly critical about my own work in the past. Might as well be. I have no idea. But yeah, that's how things go, right? And again, this is like especially like a problem when you're like making stuff on your own, and you are everything. You are like your QA tester, you are your marketing department, you're your programmer, and all that stuff, and you have to like be always mindful about like you probably not having the best perspective on things, especially like because you are everything. Like, how can you have like a good perspective on stuff like when you're everything? So, and you'll definitely miss something, and like, oh god, there was already so much stuff that I missed, what testers have pointed out with GB Robo. So yeah, this is going to be fun once it's like out, like in the open. Like, people will find so much weird stuff that I have to deal with. It'll be fun. Okay, so let's see how this mess looks like. I'm not a big fan of how this looks, but again, endless attack stage, I don't have to spend 5 hours like making sure that the backgrounds look okay. It should be readable. That's it. Sorry for the hiccups. Kind of miss the parallax scrolling, but I think it's okay. What I want to test though is how this will look like with some like shadows on the like here. This is usually like I'm usually not doing this in in these kinds of levels, but I feel like because this is all basically indoors. I feel like maybe this might look good. Usually the shadows look weird, like in places with parallax. I think maybe I'm wrong here. I don't know. Who knows? What do I know really? Like, I wish I had like an understanding about of visual composition and all that stuff, so that I could do more than just like, okay, I'm going to like twiddle around until I feel like it's okay or I run out of patience. Okay, yeah, this is like there's nothing here, so either I forgot or it's cool, it's invisible. That's awesome. What? Ugh. Okay, let's save everything. Close the thing. Give me a second. I'll be everything will be back in just a moment. Just deactivating the thing because I don't want to show everyone my desktop. Not because there's anything illegal on there. I'm pretty sure there isn't. It's just very messy. My virtual desk looks like my actual desk, full of bullshit. So yeah. So what I did here was I restarted GameMaker because at some point when you're placing tiles down and even emptying the cache or whatever won't do anything, it will just say, yeah, no, you haven't done anything here. What, you placed tiles? No, you didn't. So you kind of have to the only thing really that fixes is restarting it. So I found, so I do just that. And again, you could empty the cache and do it that way, but nope, won't do it. I did it a few times already, and I always get caught off guard because I forget that GameMaker has some weird errors, and that's what it is occasionally. At some point I have to check if they fixed the thing with their last update where suddenly you couldn't import. Am I invincible? Why am I invincible? Oh god. I sometimes feel like the cheat menu has is broken. I think I also know why, maybe. Yeah, let me. This is something we can fix. I'm pretty sure I know why. Crack throw. So this is again a weird thing. We have to go all the way down here. So where do we have it? Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's because of this. So this is something that just for some reason I forgot to this is what happens when you copy and paste code. This is something that is in other things despite it not being important for there, this is like the variable that sets enemy damage, and for some reason this was set to 0 and like has been saved. And just to be sure that like it's getting removed from like everywhere where like it has to be, because it's not here. So my damage modificate. Yeah, okay. Okay, so this should be okay now. Oh yeah, I think I know why. Like it wasn't really an issue before, because like it only really was like built such a way, like had this command in there in the tourism mode where there are no enemies, so you, like it never like really happens. Yeah, like this was set to like. Okay, now it works. Let's just like check. Okay, this is still that. Ah, I want to do that. Okay. Yeah, okay, good. Now it's... Oh god. This is a bit of a weird enemy placements in part. But yeah, I think that like shadow like makes the space a bit more interesting. So I'll keep it. That's looks. Doing these Capcom turns is always a bit tricky with the camera here, because like it's not like the camera is like immediately free flowing once you like leave the vertical section. And yeah, so like when you're like you're here like this, for example, this is also like why there's like this adjustment object, because otherwise everything would fall apart. But yeah, you're here and it's okay, but the moment you move to the right, this happens, which isn't that big of a problem, I think. But yeah, it's not ideal, but man. But this is like also like I might fix it, because again, I have time. I have time to fix it, and there's probably a way to do that. Probably, but maybe I won't fix it, because it's also like I don't want to deal with the camera. The camera works fine. Like it works like for what it is and all that, it works really well, and I kind of don't want to touch it like ever again and just keep using it, because it's very very flexible, like for the cases of where it like works, and I can basically use it for any kind of 2D game, which is great. Anyway, that's it, I think. Let's just like rename that room, and I think we are done for today, I would say. Ha, there was another rhyme. Well, that's like TR5. So we are now at I think 7 or 8 levels. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 levels. Cool. The tower levels are done completely. I don't want to make more than 5 levels per tie set. So it's again it'll be between 25 and 35 levels, depending on how many tie sets I end up using. Probably like most likely 30 levels, like aroundish, which I think is fine enough. And yeah, like we have like, I think this is still my favorite level, or like one of my, because again, you can do a dash and like just hop through everything. And anyway, oh, I already did a like Stompy sequence here. Oh well, let's have another one. It's okay. No one will notice. Oh, hoo, hoo. Let's be smart. Let's be smart. It'll be something else, you know? There's like an enemy that I haven't really used all that much because it was a very late addition. This is basically like, where do we have him? Where are you, Hopcop? There are you. There you are. Also, image speed equals 0. Maybe. Put it in here. No more weird like bobbing around for these, wiggling around. I don't know. This is a bit more spicy, I think. Also, like, they bounce off of ledges here, so it's a bit wolf. But it's okay. It can stay like it can stay this way. Good. That's it. Let's yeah, anyway. I don't have like a good I have to like give me a moment. Let's do it here. Again. My Google Drive is a mess. Oh yeah, I mean, this is almost true for everything. Like, what? No. What? Like, oh, there. Okay, let's do it this way. Hi. Just ignore this part down here. You could follow this channel and also subscribe to my YouTube channel if you watch the archive. You can subscribe to me on Twitch because I'm not like subscription eligible, which is fine. But anyway, yeah, this has been like a level building stream and like a bit talking about like what else I've been doing and all that fun stuff. If you found this interesting and think, oh yeah, GB Robo is a game I would maybe be interested in buying once it's out, you can wishlist it on Steam. I would very much encourage you to wishlist it because then you'll get a poke from Steam once it's out. And if you're like a forgetful person like me, this is very helpful because I can't keep dates in my mind. And Steam will do it for you, which is great. You can also follow GB Robo on Steam, which like gives you more like update stuff, like when I do like a news post over there and an announcement and all that. Yeah, you get notified of that as well. So you can do that as well. But wishlisting is the like first like and more important thing like in general. But if you like really want to know more and all that, you can follow the game on Steam as well. The follow button is a bit hidden, but I can show it. I'm pretty sure that I can show it. I don't know if I can show it on my own game. Like, not if I'm not logged in. Cool. Well, it's below the like Steam store like thing. So it's like below like the thing. Anyway, you can find it somewhere and follow the game on Steam. You can also follow @Mokograd on Twitter, where I usually post GIFs every once in a while from the game and like again announce when streams happen and like other kinds of announcements. So that's something you can do. You can also subscribe to an email newsletter that is very infrequent. And like, for example, since like the Steam page launch, I haven't really sent out another email because there really wasn't something like large enough to warrant like an email. But if you're like want to know, like for example, once this game is out and I'm working on another game, when you want to know when the Steam page is out and like want to be informed because like other stuff might be missable or whatever, you can subscribe to the newsletter and you'll get an email once that's out and all that. And again, you can follow the Twitch account if you want to like get notified when I'll go live, and you can also subscribe to my YouTube channel if you're watching the stream. I don't have like a link right now, like for the people who might be watching the VOD on Twitch. It's somewhere, like, it's somewhere. Like, I'll usually go through my Twitter account. There's a link to the YouTube channel somewhere, and you can subscribe that way. Anyway, that's it. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you have a nice weekend. Not sure if maybe I'll do another stream on Sunday. Probably not tomorrow because I'm busy. But like probably on Sunday I have like a bit more time to do that. And yeah, have a nice weekend again, and see you soon. Bye.